Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to my fellows and so okay today our group for the last group which is we gonna to continue about chapter 8 for SMG 606 which is ethics and policy issues in sport. So I stand for myself. My name is Muhammad Azim Mimi Azrem. So the other guys will be Ashley Baru Pangeran, and then also Muhammad Fakhrul Razi bin Yusuf. Okay, so let's continue. Okay, ethical consideration of technology in sport. Okay, using for the first point, following era of the technology evolve, the ethical consideration of technology, they follow the era of the technology evolve. So the more evolution technology for the some era, or we call the upgrade technology. So the more often using in sport or game. So ethical consideration will follow the era of the technology. And then also for the second is acceptable or not acceptable. So acceptable or not acceptable, they will choose for the what we call the improvement for the game or sport. For example, using the camera for the sport like football. So using that, we can consider the referee will getting the other help, or maybe the offside or the goal. So using the technology is quite help for the uh, some game or some sport. Okay, let's continue. Okay, a sporting challenge. Okay, there are good effect and bad effect. Okay, good effect there will be improvement of material. Okay, improvement of material is based on the material using before this we choose a racket racket before this using a wood material. So the improvement of material for nowadays racket more light from before, so the user will be uh, easier to use and more safer. It gives many advantage to participants. So from the improvement of material, the like we choose a racket before, for example, maybe for badminton or tennis. So the user can use the racket often, and then having a practicing not every day maybe, and avoid injury. This one also a good benefit from the improvement of material. So then more safer to athlete or easier motor skill acquisition. And then for the bad effects, okay, it also can give harm or bad consequence to user. Okay, let's continue. Okay, this one, the picture for the and shoes, football ball and shoes, and the other side is hockey stick. Okay, for the football ball and shoes, we can see that the evolution of ball and also the shoes. So there will be the um, pair of football ball and shoes, the evolution of football ball and shoes, and also for the hockey stick. Okay, before this, maybe the hockey stick in the left side of the picture. Okay, maybe the material using is wood, I think. So the materials may be more heavier than the other side of hockey stick. So this one for the good effect the of the improvement of or the evolution of the materials. But it also can give harmful for the user because of such as this one ice skating. Ice skating boot blade sharpen on front. Okay, for the I think for the user or for the beginner user ice skating, they will be more dangerous for them using the ice skating boot blade because of maybe they will got injury while using the ice skating. Okay, there also new and old javelin design. So for the new design, more sharpen on front. So they will give more what we call more dangerous toward the user. But for the materials, we can say that uh, more sharpened javelin design will keep the ice skating more smooth on the ice. So I think that's all from me. Thank you.
So hello, my name is Ashley Paru and I will be continue on this presentation. So the new equipment or improvement of the equipment must be help to improve the enjoyment of doing the activity. The second one is not harmful or destructive to the individual that are using the equipment. Number three is the equipment is helpful in performing the activities. Number four is to help improve the motor skill of the athletes. Number five is to improve health. And the last one is to improve the physical fitness. So, alternative argument. It may be advantageous or disadvantages for certain people. With the advancement of technology nowadays, it's helped people to perform better in field or track. So basically, athletes that have better sponsorship can dominate the games. So for example, below is Roger Federer, is a tennis player. Before he been sponsored by Uniqlo, he was being sponsored by Nike for his tennis equipment. A direct harm. It is the potential of physical danger. The equipment built with advanced material and it may possess to the player or spectator. Let's see the example. The javelin may cause harm to people because of the um, pointy, because it is pointy at the end of each the javelin. The other example is baseball, which you see in the picture. The player is being hit by the ball. So the technology have permits us to feel the thrills and the achievement in the sport, but it make us less aware of the safety issue. So technology in the bottle is, we can take an example for sports supplement. So basically, human have limits. For example, if you're running for 30 minutes, you will be stopped at a certain point to check your breath. So because the technology is so advanced, so technology tends to urge athletes to do more and develop sport ethics to meet challenge. So they will develop more products to enhance uh, the athletes' performance or help the athletes to last longer in the field. So former athletes experience osteoarthritis, debilitated knees because of uh, sometimes overtraining, injury on the field. So it may boost athlete performance, but it will affect athletes negatively, and most of the time it will give a long term effects. So moral responsibility. What is responsibility? It is a status of morally deserving praise, blame, rewards, or punishment for an act for omissions in accordance with one's moral obligation. So let's take for example a safe workplace. Ethics. So what is personal philosophy? So personal philosophy is a personal moral value and belief which is within ourselves. Uh, it's what we are believe, and each of person have their own personal moral value. So professional responsibility. So it is your obligation that apply our moral value to workplace. For example, uh, doing work on time. So the next is social responsibility. Social responsibility is how we treat other people. So are you be kind to your to your colleague, or are you being hard to them? Something like that. So the next, I will pass this next presentation to my to my next friends.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning. Next, we go to Code of Ethics. Basically, Code of Ethics is a set of rules that have been provided by the organization for individual or the employee. There are five criteria for Code of Ethics. First of all, Code of Ethics should be regulative. Uh, because it can prevent the individual or employee to do a wrong thing. Next is the code should be protect the public interest, which means the code uh, should be protect the community. Next is the code that is not self-serving. The code should be not self-serving. The code need to give a benefit to community. Next is the code should be specific and honest. And lastly, the code need the code must be both possible and policy. Next is Code of Ethics in Physical Education. For as a physical education, we need to follow the code to make sure to prevent from injury or something bad happen. So the main principle for uh, Code of Ethics in Physical Education is as a education uh, as a physical education educator, they need to be professional, either in ethical conduct or practice and performance. Uh, Educator between college, which means we need to respect each other and give a best uh, practice or training for the partner or college. Next is ethical conduct towards student. As an educator, we need to avoid the racism. As we know, in Malaysia, there are many race, religion, uh, so we need to take care and care about their own religion and races. Next is ethical as an educator. Uh, the ethical conduct toward parent and community need to have because family is one uh, is a person that very close to us. So we need to have uh, ethical code for family. For student for ethical conduct towards student, parent and community, we should be not making false statement, and we also not to be discriminating against another based on religion, races, gender, and disability. Basically, this is racism. The easy meaning is racism. We need to avoid racist. Next is we need to revealing confidential as educator. We need to revealing confidential information on concerning student. The next is code of ethics in sport science and research. In this time, we know that we have a subject that uh, have a decision. So it's important to know the to do a research about the to has a good objective to make sure the research become well. So first of all, uh, the research need to involve the study of human adaptation. Next is the research need to consider acceptable research practice and ethical conduct. Next is we need to think about how when we doing a research we need to think about how human should treat and expose those individuals for unacceptable ethical conduct. Uh, Next we go to the schedule experiment. Uh, this schedule this photo is about Tuskegee uh, syphilis experiment. This experiment is to investigate the long-term effect of untreated syphilis experiment. Next, as a researcher, if we do a research about the human as a subject, so we need to follow the guideline. So first of all, we need uh, we need not to do research that because then justify is to people. Next is not do research that violate norms of free informed consent. Next is not do research that unjustly convert public resources to private profit. Next is not do research that seriously jeopardize environmental welfare. And the last is not do BS research. Basically, uh, the research about the research uh, the human as a subject for the research basically doing by the scientists. They need to find uh, they need a find a fact from the body. So they will do experiment in the body. So they need to follow the guideline to make sure to avoid the human get serious injury. Next is informed consent in research. We know that every when we do when the research is about human, uh, we need to we need to we need to get a permission from the individual because the individual have the right to exercise free consent to participate or not in activity. Now we cannot force the individual to be a subject. We need to get permission. Uh, so the component of consent letter, first of all, is a statement as to the right to privacy or non-participation. Next is the right to remain anonymous. Next is the right to confidentiality. Next is the right to drop out of the study. Next, the right to expect experiment responsibility. Next is the description of potential discomfort or risk. Uh, Next is a description of benefit to be expected. Then a fair explanation of study procedure. The last is an offer to answer any question about study procedure. So that's all for me. Thank you. Till we meet again. Assalamualaikum.